This presentation of the Ivy League Digital Network is brought to you by the Brown University Sports Foundation. Great students and great athletes need great donors. The Brown University Alumni Association, a lifelong connection. And by Coca-Cola, Open Happiness. Stevenson Pincince Field and Senior Day on Halloween 2015. We say thank you to Phil Pincince. We say thank you to the class of 2016 and the home finale for the Brown women's soccer team just a few minutes away. Hello, everyone. Great to have you on board on an emotional and bittersweet day here at Stevenson Pincince Field alongside Mike Mancuso. I'm Mike Rubin. And yes, you heard me right. There is something very fitting about being able to be the first broadcast team to be able to call it by its new name, Mike. This facility getting a deserved, I guess, name change over the last few days.
I mean, it's a tremendous honor for Phil, and I think the most well-deserved thing that Brown could do for Phil, for all he's put into this program, all he's put into this university for 39 seasons, to have it culminate with the naming of the field, Stevenson Pincince Field, just unbelievable. Kind of odd, it's the end of an era, but the beginning of an era as well. So it should be hopefully a game that matches all the pomp and circumstance that's surrounding it, as well as you mentioned Senior Day. We've got 6 seniors today as well. Emotional for them, all their parents, and we've got the class of 1990 here, the women's team from the class of 90. So just a lot going on here on College Hill for women's soccer. A fantastic day.
After more than 600 days, there are a great many student athletes who want to say thank you to Coach Pincince, some of them his colleagues. It has been a tremendous ride for the coach.
He's just a good person. Not only is he a great coach, a great technician, he's just a good person.
He's like a big ball of energy. He's just so fun to be around with and work all the time. So I think, when he brings that to work every day, the passion that he shows for, for everything Brown women's soccer, it makes it enjoyable to come to work every day. You want to be part of it.
To be able to have an impact on players far beyond their experience on the field, I think is a unique trait of Phil's.
He has an impact that most people just don't have. It's not possible to have that unless you have that experience of all the years at Brown and without the commitment to really caring about what he's doing and what he's trying to accomplish.
He gives respect to his players, and that in turn makes it very easy to respect him. He was never authoritative in his approach. He was always very democratic, and even though you knew he was the coach, he had a great mutual respect for his players.
I think too, he created a sense of family too. He would have us over for maybe Thanksgiving or end of season with his family. Brian was around the program a lot. Stephanie played with us, and and Janet, his wife, was also at every game and giving us hugs, and they're just really genuine, good people.
When I was a student here, I went to a lot of their games, and I was a big fan, and I rooted for them. I obviously knew who he was. He has a way of making you feel comfortable around him.
It's just hard to be in a bad mood working with Phil. He's just so passionate and so dedicated to soccer and to Brown. It's hard not to be contagious. Like that feeling.
He is Brown women's soccer. I mean, you get a guy who's been around for the better part of 5 decades. It's an incredible legacy. He's a gentleman. He does things the right way. He takes chances on student athletes. He makes people around him better, and he makes you want to be do things the right way as well. He deserves the best, and he's always been the best to us. And knowing him and working with him for 20 years, it's been a privilege.
It's been interesting to see the games this year, what the interaction has been like between Phil and the opposing head coach as games have ended, because those people have gone over and known this is the last time they're going to play against him. This is an opportunity to thank him, to congratulate him.
I'm so thankful and honored to have served Brown University for 39 years. So many people have supported me. I'm humbled, I'm honored. Life is short. Life is grand. Enjoy it all. All the best. Always.
Well, there you have it, folks. Coach Pincince has left a really lasting and remarkable legacy, not only on the student athletes that he's coached over the past 600 games in soccer, and we forget, almost 15 years of softball as well. One of those guys that has become an institution within an institution. And, with all of the emotion, with all of the pomp and circumstance, Mike, at the end of the day, there's still a soccer game. And we've talked to Coach Pincince, I have this week, you and I, over the course of the season, that it has been about game by game by game. And we've seen the emotions of senior day. They get a little bit exacerbated here by all of the different things that are surrounding it. But it's senior day. It's an emotional game for the players, regardless of what would be going on with their coach's final few weeks as their guy.
Yeah, I mean, of all the games we've done over the years, we've never had a game with this much extra stuff surrounding it. We've had plenty of senior days and all that, but we've never had a field being named after the coach coaching in his final home game. So all those emotions for the players. It'll be interesting to see how they're going to handle that today. And, hopefully they could turn it into something positive and let Phil go out with Stevenson Pincince Field and a victory today.
The Bears taking on a Penn squad that's unbeaten in their last 4. More importantly, talking to Coach, it's been a team against whom the Bears have struggled to get a good result over the last couple of years. They're a tough team to beat, Mike. They've played 14 games. They've only lost 3 of them. And we can almost assure ourselves of about a 50-50 shot of this one going extra time.
Yeah, and not only have they put together a good record, they've only allowed 10 goals on the season. So this is a very stingy defensive team. And we know the Bears have struggled at times, especially in Ivy League play. I mean, let's face it, they've only scored in one Ivy League game so far, but it was a 3-2 victory over Cornell, who at the time was the stingiest Ivy League team defensively. So this Bears team has been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. Their offense is either kind of boom or bust. In the last 3 games in which they've scored 3, 4, and 3. The other games, they were shut out. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of offense shows up for the Bears today.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because talking to Coach on earlier this week, Thursday morning, we were chatting, and he indicated to me that it's a credit to the fact that this squad never gave up this season at all. They just kept after it. This week, it was Celia Story being the heroine against, as you mentioned, a Cornell team that, for those of you who've been watching all season long, we kept talking about. They haven't given up a goal. They're the last team in the country to score against. They were down in that game late and needed overtime, but did it in a tough place. Ithaca, of all places, a long ride.
And not only were they down 2 goals.
Right, yeah,
2-0
exactly.
in the second half. And like you said, Celia Story wound up tying it in the 80-something minute. Actually, the 65th minute, went on to score the goal in double overtime, 105th minute to win it, and in the process became one of the first players, or the first player, along with Mimi Assam of Princeton, to earn Ivy League Rookie of the Week and Ivy League Player of the Week. I mean, pretty astounding stuff. And, again, someone different stepping up for the Bears. Stories, she's had a good season, but to score 2 goals in a critical game on the road against a very tough defensive team. Great stuff out of Story, and hopefully they could parlay that into some more offensive prowess here today.
One of the things we talk about at length when we get to this stage of the season, Mike, is that you want your underclassmen to step up. Well, today it's senior day, and we're not necessarily talking about the seniors stepping up as much as we're talking about the seniors' leadership, and that leadership obviously coming from behind, but this senior class has obviously meant a lot to this squad.
Well, yeah, and this year they have the 6 seniors, and one of them being the captain, Sarah Moody, and of course you can't discount the leadership, Erin Katz, Jillian DeSimone, Charlotte Beach, and Hogan Vivier, she's been sidelined for most of the season, only got to appear in 4 games so far. Not sure if she's going to suit up today. And then, of course, Michelle Jolson, who's been one of those role players that's able to go in at a pinch notice and deliver, Maybe she's not scoring goals, but she's delivering quality minutes out there. So definitely a lot of players that are going to be missed over the next few seasons and have left their mark here, Brown.
And just to turn our attention back to Penn for a quick moment. Stingy team, hard team to score against. How hard do you think it is for them to drown everything out? I mean, there's a lot of noise, a lot of ambient noise, I'll use that term, around this match.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a testament to their coaching staff and what they're going to do to kind of put that out of their mind and just focus on the task at hand. But like you said, they're listening right now as they're doing the senior day ceremony. They're listening to all these accolades, the players, the parents, and it's probably hard for them not to get a little emotional too, thinking about, if I'm a senior, my career's coming to an end. And all
Within
that
the next couple of weeks, for sure.
Because let's face it, Brown and Penn, neither of them is going to win the Ivy title this season. So,
Right.
they're coming down to their final games this week and next week, and that's going to be it for the senior class. So I think just, again, emotionally, senior day, whether it's on your field or your opponent's field, very difficult to deal with. And then you have everything going on with Coach Pincince, too. So we'll see what kind of job Nicole Van Dyke, who is in her first season at the helm of the Quakers, can do to kind of get her team away from that ambient noise.
The class of 2016 being introduced for head coach Phil Pincince, his final match here at the field that now in part bears his name. We'll have the starting lineups and the first half call when we return to Stevenson Pincince after this.
Here with her mother, Jennifer Keelan, and her father, Randy Beach. She will graduate in May with a degree in modern culture and media. Ladies and gentlemen, number 30, Charlotte Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, how about one more round of applause for the Brown women's soccer class of 2016?
And welcome back, folks. Good to have you with us here on this Saturday afternoon from Stevenson Pincince Field here on the campus of Brown University. Alongside Mike Mancuso, I'm Mike Rubin. Great to have you on board with us for yet another picture perfect day. You know, Mike, I got to ask, what sort of Faustian bargain have you made to get another day of good weather here in Providence for this fall season?
Well, part of the answer entails that you're not going to like lacrosse season, Mike.
Okay, all right.
You make the deal, you get the great weather for soccer season, and you might have to face a couple snow piles on the far side of the field for lacrosse.
It's okay. On this back, I can shovel quite a bit. It is again, a beautiful and a fitting afternoon here for Senior Day here in Providence. We're going to take a look at the starting lineups. First, let's take a look at the visiting Quakers. We mentioned 1-1-3 in Ivy play, 6-3-5 overall under first-year head coach Nicole Van Dyke. Mike, take it away.
Yeah, we'll start in between the pipes. The senior netminder, honorable mention All-Ivy last year, but hasn't played all that much this year, making her fifth appearance and her fifth start. Kalia Tarilli. In front of her, the starting 10 field players, Erin Mikolai, Natasha Davenport, Shannon Hennessy, their leading scorer, a freshman, Sasha Stevens, Paige Lombard, Carolyn Dwyer, Cami Woketti, Romy Boyd, Allie Traska, and Olivia Belaber.
On the other side, Coach Pincince going with the seniors, all 6 of them, in the starting lineup this afternoon. In front of freshman goaltender Christine Edsel, who's been solid, Mike, if not spectacular at times here in 2015.
Yeah, she's definitely been a force back there between the pipes. In front of her, the 10 field players, Carly Gould, Megan Grant, Michelle Jolson, McLean Lehan, Sarah Moody, Sarah Cobb, Jillian DeSimone, Hogan Vivier, Erin Katz, and Charlotte Beach. And I think the player I'm most happy to see in the lineup is Hogan Vivier, Mike. I mean, she's been out since the 4th game of the season, and obviously it was fairly severe for her to be out that long, but to be able to suit up for your final game at home is something special. So very happy that the native out of Cumberland was able to do that.
On that far wing is Jillian DeSimone, and we are underway as the ball lobs in. Making a run there was Michelle Jolson, but Kalia Tarilli, the senior out of the Bronx, will throw it back in as it comes to Hennessy on the near side. Penn in the road, navy blues, white trim with red numerals and also white trim on the backs. Brown in the home whites with brown numerals and black trim. Bears defending, goal to our right here in the first half. And Bears finishing the season before we get beyond daylight savings time, but that still means, Mike, something we talk about quite a bit with these 3:30 and 4 o'clock starts at this juncture of the season is the sun and the referee already having to shield his eyes.
And today more than normal almost, because usually we have at least some kind of cloud cover. Today there is
not much.
Not many clouds that are blocking the sun, especially coming from behind us. So balls played from the near side towards the far side of the field will be trouble, especially for netminders. So keep that in mind on corner kicks and the long throws.
We mentioned the weather, game time temperatures in the 50s and a little bit of a breeze, which is typical for this pitch. Far side, that's DeSimone from Katz, goes to the bottom of the kickoff circle. Moody touches back for McLean Lehan, who leans back and sends it over the top on that far side of Caroline Dwyer for a Penn throw-in.
So we'll see here, Mike, in the opening couple of minutes exactly how the Bears are going to come out in terms of their emotional energy. So far, they seem fairly composed out there. Have had some pretty decent strikes on the ball.
Well, at a certain point, Mike, I think once the ball gets kicked, sometimes we talk about it being just another game, and there are other days when that's very much not the case. And we all know all of those, and if she's out there listening, there are a couple of women who also remember that there are some of them that they'd like to forget, some of them being senior days. On that far side, a touch by Gould. Again, they're trying to build from DeSimone on that right flank. She's picked up by Cami Woketti on that far side. The drop pass back for Lombard on the ground for Davenport, who turns it out towards center. Like that, deflected off a shoulder, and comes rolling Beach from Moody. Beach working right to left for the Bears, a couple and a half minutes in. Nice ball to the flank. Here comes DeSimone on the far side. Crosses it in front, headed down, and it'll be turned by Woketti. She will carry on the edge of the box and knock it away. Kept alive by Vivier for DeSimone, who was able to reset herself onside. The touchback, Vivier looks to put it across. Not a bad idea, but a little too far in front of Michelle Jolson.
Yeah, Jolson maybe got a little bit of a late jump there as that ball played in right on Turilli. She didn't really have to move too much, but like what the Bears are doing so far, trying to work it through DeSimone, who's had some success working down the flank this season. Never a bad idea.
3 minutes in, Mike. Bears have had so far, I think, the bulk of the possessions.
Oh, absolutely. They've had, a couple of offensive chances already. Maybe not a scoring threat, but at least they're putting the ball in dangerous spots and forcing Turilli to have to play it early.
And the Bears have just one win in their last 6 contests, 2 wins in their last 6 contests. They had that cathartic explosion against Marist back here on Columbus Day, that being a 4-0 rout of the Red Foxes. And, of course, the come-from-behind dramatic 3-2 finish out in Ithaca last week, which was Cornell's senior day, certainly one that was spoiled by the freshman Celia Story.
Well, Mike, I think the most important thing, it's going to sound obvious, but the Bears to score. In the last 11 games in which they've scored a goal, they've won. Now, granted, that's only 3 wins in that period, but still, it just shows you that it's just kind of boom or bust, especially in this latter part of the season.
One thing I think we could take from 2015, and when we start talking about, our preseason, I'm already fast-forwarding a year from now, this Brown team has been in almost every single game of all of their games. The Delaware game, I think, is an anomaly because they didn't go with a full roster.
Throw that one out.
So I think the Princeton game, I think, got away from them in the second half. Besides that, the Bears have played pretty good soccer this year.
They really have. I mean, it's a shame, some of the games they did lose. The UMass one on the road, the UConn one here at home. I mean, in those games, they had chances. I mean, they were not just in them, but they had chances to pull those out. So I think it's been a testament to this year's squad. I mean, they had the difficult schedule early on, and they played well in those games, and definitely maybe left a couple of points out there. But, you can't question their heart and their competitiveness this season, and, to be able to battle back at times, especially you look at what they did last week on the road against a very good Cornell team, to come back late and come out with the victory. A huge boost to the Bears, and I'd love to see them build on that here today and even next week to finish out the season with 2 wins and reach 500.
500 in league and overall. So here's McLean Lehan on the restart after the foul. Ball on the far side. DeSimone, a little knock. It came to the 6, but it was knocked away by Lombard. Vivier to step up for the throw. About 5.5 minutes in here. Again, a beautiful afternoon here in southern New England.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than this time of year.
This has been just fantastic. We've been lucky. I think we've had maybe 1 game between the men and the women where Mother Nature and some precipitation were even part of the equation.
And it was like the first game of the season, I think, or very early on.
Very early on. DeSimone, a burst of speed on that far wing, cuts back, puts it across. Katz tries to get a foot on it. And it might have been deflected. Dangerous chance there as Erin Katz making a bid.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick out the pen number of the player that kind of went down low, fell to the ground. It kind of ping-ponged around a little bit. It was the number 20 there, Romy Boyd, the freshman of Acton, Mass. And quite fortunate that just didn't ping-pong into her arm while Turilli was coming out to play it.
Up the near side, Sasha Stevens loops one towards center, headed away by Vivier. Near side, Grant works through, plays it for Jolson on the left side, works in front of the Brown bench. Ball rolls near side, taken there. Nice check back to the ball by Katz to take it away from Hennessy. She's bailed out by Mikolai, and it comes rolling over to Olivia Blaber. Tried to push it through for Stevens. Nice stick. Lehan and Jolson will carry on the near side. Jolson, an aggressive challenge. Getting the ball, they say, was Olivia Blaber. But looked like she got a lot of Jolson from that angle,
yeah,
Mike.
She certainly did. Kind of caught her up on the thigh, took her legs out, but the referee says play on. We'll play with the throw.
Katz putting the ball through. Here comes DeSimone, but off her line was Turilli.
And, you got to wonder, did Wilketti have a little bit of trouble picking that one up? Maybe, I don't know. Or did she simply just miss it? Fortunately for her, Turilli was paying attention, able to come off her line and make the grab.
Big win in the middle of the field by Gould. Katz hits the deck. Ball comes near side. Here comes Grant. Looks to settle. Little touch, uses Stevens. Keeps working against the freshman, a battle of the first years. Beach on the ball. Nice touch for Grant. Grant works her way around Mikolai and then lost the handle. A little fancy footwork there between Beach and Grant, Mike.
Well, something we've seen a lot this season. Grant making those runs up the left flank. Very talented freshman.
Well, Beach has come to play today. Right to left comes the senior, puts it across, looking perhaps for Moody, who took the shoulder there from Davenport, comes up with the ball, wanted to feed over to DeSimone, taken away by Penn.
And all the seniors have come to play, Mike. They've all been heavily involved in this game already. Seen some great plays out of DeSimone, Jolson, I mean, all of them. Even in the back, Vivier clearing that one ball out on the header, and Cats just being Cats out there, aggressive as usual. And, you know, someone who, you know, doesn't wear the captain's armband, but certainly plays like one, someone that the team could follow.
On the near side, had a hat trick earlier this year.
Yeah, she basically willed that team to that victory. And, you know, sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you need your upperclassmen to step up. And against Sacred Heart, Cats did just that.
This game has probably the best pace of a match that we've seen here all season, for sure.
Yeah,
maybe since the Dartmouth game, second half.
It reminds me of the Dartmouth game.
The men's game against BU, maybe?
Well, yeah, I mean, throwing aside some of the men's games have been pretty intense, but on the women's side, you know, I thought we had a great pace in the UConn game, good pace in the Dartmouth game, and even the Florida Atlantic game.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know.
Ball be headed away by Cobb, and that will be a corner kick for the Quakers. First corner of the day for either side comes in the 10th minute of this first half.
Well, unfortunately, it's going to come from the far side, so Edsel should have no problem in tracking this one. No Sun to worry about here. So Stevens, the leading scorer for the Quakers, 4 goals, 3 assists, 2-time Ivy League Rookie of the Week.
They played it short. They look back for Owakedi. Looks like she wants to load it up, tries to get around Cobb, lost her footing, and Turf Monster got her in transition. Come the Bears. Nope, unable to get through. I think that was Dwyer.
Yeah, nice step by Dwyer.
Little touch there. Comes over to the flank, push back in. Dwyer, Vivier, a header. Stevens will keep it alive on that far flank. Looks to turn, puts it across. Lehan calls off Beach and knocks it away. On the left side, Wakedi. A freshman out of Burbank, California, centers the ball back over to the far wing. Carrying the ball.
I think we're going to see some more California connections for Penn in the upcoming years. Their head coach, Nicole Van Dyke, out of Cal State Bakersfield. One of their assistants from Cal State, Stanislaus.
Where is Stanislaus?
That's a great question, Mike.
Oh, come on. You're from west of the Mississippi. You're supposed to know these things.
Not that far west.
I very rarely venture out of New England.
Have you been west of the Mississippi?
I've been to Vegas.
Okay.
I've been to Alaska.
But do you remember going to Vegas?
Which time?
And I'm guessing whatever happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas. Are we correct to assume?
No, you're not actually.
Because you don't remember, so.
No, I'm gonna tell you what happened, and
we'll save that one
at the intermission.
Post-game. Yeah.
Let's just say the last time I was there was about a little bit about 6 years ago, and my daughter will turn 6 in about 7 months. How's that? Does that sum it up for you?
That pretty much is a good indication.
There you go. And yes, Alaska. I think Alaska counts as west of the Mississippi.
Yes.
Penn's going to use the long throw. They have Blaber, the junior out of Haddonfield, New Jersey, winding up. That's a good throw. Comes to the corner of the 6, over the head of Lehan. She tries to battle against Mikolai. Gould gets it to her foot and knocks it away. Penn's had a little bit more of a build. First, I would say 7 minutes of this game, really all Brown. Maybe the last 3 or 4, Penn has had a little bit more of the possession.
Well, the Bears have had trouble kind of working it through the midfield, Mike. They've kind of had it. They've been turning it over around midfield, trying to play a couple of long balls that just haven't been able to get past the defense.
Penn does a good job of rotating their 2 flank midfielders. We see Sasha Stevens on this near side. She spent quite a bit of time on the far side as well. So they rotate things back and forth to perhaps try and create some mismatches. Gould switching fields. It's a good ball as DeSimone able to stay wide. A tough first touch is picked up by Wakedi. Works up that far flank. Vivier over, tries to step and unable to handle it was DeSimone, who gets my vote for Ivy League Comeback Player of the Year this year.
Oh, absolutely. And boy, did they miss her last year, Mike, having to miss the whole season with injury. But came to play right from the first game. I know we were both impressed at what we saw out of her. Didn't know, sometimes coming off a big injury like that, very difficult, but she came through for them early on.
Jolson now, I think it was the old, thought Gould was going to zig, and Gould held back. Ball played up the near side. Lehan says mine, turns, and nice play to knock it off of Blaber for the throw.
Yeah, just a heads-up play by Lehan. So smart, so safe with the ball, and that's what you want out of your center backs as they're going to move Grant back about 3 inches to make sure that throw is in the right spot.
Wish I could gotten a film of the Cornell-Penn game. That's kind of got to be, it was a 0-0 draw, double overtime. I would imagine that's kind of the irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Well, that one, and, against Columbia, too. I mean, the Bears, for all intents and purposes, should have been 0-0 double overtime in that one, but, of course, we know what happened in the last
minute,
30 seconds of that contest. But, the league has been tight this year, Mike. I mean, it has been tight. A lot of close games. You haven't, outside of the Princeton game, not too many blowouts.
No, top to bottom, this season has been, I think, more even than we've seen. And granted, I think Harvard Harvard and Princeton have been about as good as they get, and that's a handball. Princeton right now is arguably the hottest team in the nation.
10 wins in a row heading into today.
Is it up to 10? I thought
and if they
9.
won today, it's 11. But they were hosting Cornell. I'll see if I can get a score for that one as play continues here. But yeah, they have been on fire as of late.
But to knock off Harvard, who I think a lot of people had basically penciled in, and granted, Harvard's got some very, very talented forwards and can fill the back of the goal. In fact, Harvard this season, I guess, outscored their opponents in the league 10-2. I think. Princeton, has scored 15 goals this season as well.
Well, one of the scores to report: Harvard and Dartmouth tying 1-1. That's a final double overtime.
That means if Princeton's won, that means Princeton's clinched the league.
Yep, trying to get a score on that right now, but. See what the Bears could do. This is kind of where the Bears have been dangerous this season a couple times. These long balls on free kicks up towards the 18. Penn will, of course, try to hold the top of the 18 there.
Lehan up top was headed away by Penn to the near side. Stevens, the touchback. Dwyer will send it out toward midfield. Nicely read there by Moody. The second ball bounces and it'll be knocked away by knocked upfield by Traska. Upfield it comes, taken by Cobb, who cannot keep it alive, and it'll be another corner kick for the Quakers, who show how difficult they can make things on the counter.
Bears, of course, will have to be careful. Last time Princeton going short.
And they have Stevens over there, as well as the senior out of Quakertown, Pennsylvania, Aaron Mikolai.
Well, Mike, the final over at Princeton, 2-0. They win over Harvard.
So that's it.
That seals the league for them.
Yep. With a 6-0 record, even if they were to lose, Harvard at 4-1-1 can't catch them.
Can't leap them.
Nope. McLean Lehan lobbying. They're going to call another corner kick, and this is where Mother Nature could be a challenge.
Gets a little tricky now with that sun facing the keeper. Stevens will slide over to take it from both sides.
She's quick too, Mike.
Yeah, showing short to her is the senior Mikolai.
Hands up, here's the ball. It's on a line, past Cobb, knocked away by Jolson. Katz trying to transition. The ball be knocked toward the goal, and it'll be picked up by Edsel. Don't believe that's a shot. They may call it a shot. We'll see. Vivier off the second ball, out to the far side. Here comes Edsel, a collision, and out of bounds for a Penn throw-in. About 16, make it 17 minutes gone here in the first half. No score from senior day here in Southern New England. Great to have you on board with us for our entire ILDN crew. It's knocked away by Carly Gould.
Yeah, a busy day here at Brown.
Oh, my goodness.
About as busy as it can be.
I joked you could have watched today somewhere between, I think it's 5 or 6 different games. Field hockey started at noon.
And a lot of them simultaneously.
Yeah, field hockey was noon. Football was 12:30. We're 3:30. In about 10 minutes, the women's hockey team against Princeton will get underway. And then at 7 and 7:30, you have men's soccer and men's hockey against Penn and Holy Cross, respectively.
Yeah, just and I think some water polo today too. Did I hear that or not today?
I don't think so. Maybe. I know that water polo was out west, so I don't know if I believe they're back. The transition on the left side as the Quakers work up the field, and again off Cobb for yet another Penn corner. It'll be their fourth of this first half.
Yeah, they had 7 corners against Yale, a 2-1 victory last weekend. Stevens from the far side. At least for the Bears' sake, most of these corners, 3 out of the 4, have been from the far side.
You can see the shadows in front of the bench and cascading across the field. The knock comes to Waketi. She'll play it back. Set there by Dwyer. Puts it upfield. Beach the win in the air. Cat's second ball. Third ball challenge there by Traska. And set Traska again as it continues to ping pong and loopy-loop around. Brought finally down to feet and knocked in. A shot on goal by Mikolai, easily saved by Etzel.
Yeah, and I think one thing we haven't really touched upon yet, I mean, we know the 6 seniors all in the starting lineup today, but, this is the first time this unit has started a game. This isn't a starting 11 that is used to playing together out there, especially in an Ivy League contest. So, I think some of what we're seeing is that, the quote-unquote normal unit for Penn out there against a much different look for the Bears right now. And maybe that's why Penn's having a little bit of success here after they got through that first 5 minutes of energy from the Bears.
Right. I mean, we don't see typically both Sidney Callis, Michaela Waldman. Phillips has played a lot of minutes on that flank backside. So the ball knocked up by Lehan. Nice read there by Waketi. She's been very active out of that back line for the Quakers. Shielded out of bounds by Lombard. Transfer out of Palm Harbor University. At least if I'm reading this correct. Are you reading that correctly?
That's what it says.
Yeah. Okay.
Somewhere out of Miami or near that area, I guess.
Also a place
or I guess maybe it's Miami, Palm Harbor.
I don't know.
Well, because it has her hometown as Bel Air Bluffs, Florida. Then it has Miami / Palm Harbor University. So
maybe she
played at Miami too. Who knows? All we know is she's here today.
I have never been to Miami.
I've been to Florida, but I haven't been to Miami.
Aaron Katz winding up, comes near side. Jolson, a little chip, comes back to the near side, a little heel pass is crushed.
He got it.
Yep.
John Jordan, our center referee, as Jolson got blatantly tripped. I mean, it was unfortunate. Romy Boyd came over late. Jolson had played it ahead, but Boyd just tripped her. I mean, it gets really no easier than that for the official in calling a PK. So now who will step up? It looks like it'll be Carly Gould for the Bears. As DeSimone getting a little bit of a talking to from the official too. And then the finger waggle. As it looks like she's trying to secure her spot at the edge of the 18. Of course, once the ball is touched, then the players can enter the 18.
I'm going to be really
quiet
quiet
this time. Should there be a ricochet.
And the finish! Carly Gould, the PK goal! It comes in the 21st minute, and the Bears strike to take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Gould, the team's leading scorer and goal scorer this year, picks up her 6th of the season, and more importantly, puts the Bears up 1-0. The goal coming in the 22nd minute here today. Actually, 21st minute, excuse me. And a great strike, Mike. Really no doubt to really no chance, despite going the right direction. I mean, that one, a lot of pace, perfectly placed. And Gould gives the Bears a 1-0 lead. Dangerous ball back for Etzel, but she's able to get it out towards DeSimone after it took a deflection off a Penn player. Waketi now tries to drop it in towards the mixer.
Turn there by Beach. He lost the handle. The drive off of Lehan, but off her line comes Etzel. Mike, those are the type of shots there that the one that deflected there off Lehan that sometimes make your stomach drop as a coach, as a broadcaster, as a goaltender for sure.
As a fan, absolutely, because the goalie has it pegged out, the defense is ready, and all of a sudden it takes a weird carom deflection, and it's in the back of the net. At that time, Bears luck out. Etzel able to respond and pick up the easy ball.
Well, let's state the obvious. The goal comes in the 21st minute. Now, let's give it a minute. Here's DeSimone on that far side. Runs it down. The play on the goal, or the play that led to the goal, first of all, some fancy footwork by Jolson to keep the ball alive on the box. And then the challenge, there was really no question about it. I mean, she was trying to keep the ball in and got just tackled from behind.
It was a late challenge. I mean, Jolson had already, placed it. She was looking to make a run towards the end line. And Ashley had just played it. Boyd came in late and just took her down.
And oddly, I think if they watch it on the replay, that may be a goal kick. I mean, she was running out of real estate.
That was the problem. But, the Bears will take it. And Gould, another upperclassman, not a senior, but an upperclassman as a junior, stepping up and burying that one.
It's almost the reverse effect as Beach sliding there to go off her leg. Sometimes you see senior day to have that opposite effect, or players, are so overwhelmed by it they don't play well. But great to see somebody like Jolson, whose action has at times been limited, to contribute here.
Exactly, and I think those are the kind of things that Coach Pincince, he knows he's going to get that kind of response. Jolson earning a corner. Whoa!
Oh.
I was going to say Jolson doing a great job of earning a corner kick. Got hosed on that one by the official, as that was obviously touched by a Penn player.
We've been known once or twice that they've been able to hear us down on the field level. He may want to look up and say, that was the wrong call. You missed that one.
That was pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious. Beach over on the right side, flashes it out for DeSimone. A little bit to catch up to it, puts it across, looking for Katz, and then almost a collision with her own defender from Turilli, and Katz might have given her a little extra.
Maybe a lot extra, too. She's going to get the little
finger waggle?
No finger waggle that time, just the conversation on the run, the casual, I saw what you did, don't do it again. And Katz just nods her head, okay.
Boundaries have been established as we're past the midpoint of half number one. Bears with a 21st minute goal. Carly Gould with the penalty kick. Ball pushed to the near side for Cobb. And I was going to say, Mike, after the penalty kick in these next few minutes, how crucial is it for the Bears, and I'm going to ask the obvious here, play like it's still 0-0. I mean, there's no question.
It's crucial. I mean, and they know that. These Ivy games, we talk about it, the 7-game playoff. They know that you can't let up. Maybe if you're Princeton, you're up 4-0, then you could let up a little. But in this kind of game, no way.
Ball pushed in front, knocked away by Cobb, and out to the far wing. DeSimone on the ball. Right to left come the Bears. Good idea looking for Katz on the far side. She's going to put it under as Lombard turns back for goaltender Turilli. She'll send it out of bounds, and good pressure there from the Bears.
And that's what the pressure does. It turns it into a turnover on Penn as Turilli just kind of whacked it out of bounds that time after seeing that pressure from Katz, and the Bears get the throw.
Middle of the pitch, it's or top of the 18, I should say. They were heading toward the middle. Up goes Vivier. Bouncing ball taken away by Moody. Right side has Gould. Sends it off on the run for DeSimone, who was onside. Keeps it alive in the corner. A little touch. Tries to get around Wakemi. Working toward that corner. The ball stuck. Keeping after it is DeSimone. Wakemi, a good job of a second bid. That was a terrific one-on-one battle in that corner.
And what a bounce back by Wakemi. She went down and it looked like DeSimone was going to be able to turn the corner there. All of a sudden, she's back up and stealing the ball away. Great play by Wakemi.
Those are the challenges, Mike, that I think Wakemi got the worst end of it. She's a little slow getting up. With 1940 and counting left here in the half, we're going to remind you that Brown Soccer brought to you by the Brown University Sports Foundation. Great students and great athletes need great donors. The Brown Sports Foundation, 401-863-1900. And, of course, the Sports Foundation, as Penn will check in to Heary Nesmith. Sports Foundation responsible for putting together a reunion today of the 1990 class, the 25th anniversary of the 1990 Ivy League championship class. One of the teams, Mike, that won, I think it was 8 titles in, 82 to 90. The Bears won 9 in a row, was it?
Something ridiculous. Like, let's say 82,
I think it was 8 in a row.
84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. 92, 94. So, that stretch of 82.
8 titles in a row. Of course, 84, the team finishing the year ranked second in the country. And the 1990 team featuring one of Brown's most decorated athletes of any sports, a two-time All-American in two sports, Suzanne Bailey.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. And, of course, can't neglect that Coach Pincince, the National Coach of the Year by the Coaches Association and Soccer America in '84, and taking the Bears to that #1 ranking for a couple weeks during the season with a final ranking of 2.
That 19, again,
they had 10 shutouts in a row. That's just amazing.
I think the closest any team has come, I believe, one of the Brown men's teams, I think in 2009 maybe, had, or it was 9, they had 8 or 9 shutouts in a row. And I know the 2000 team only allowed 1 goal in Ivy League play in a 2-1 victory over Harvard. Up at Harvard. I remember that game.
Dominant soccer
in
that year, but yeah.
And it shows you how the sports evolved, though. I mean, there weren't 300 programs.
Right.
And I think one of the things that we talk about sometimes also in women's hockey is how Brown, for a time, were the revolutionaries because they were able to lead those sports to national recognition. As a nice turn, Nesmith able to knock it out of bounds. DeSimone on that challenge. It'll be a corner kick for the Bears. But if you were building a Mount Rushmore of Brown athletes, male or female, Suzanne Bailey has a place on it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
you talk about two-sport athletes. I mean, I think to us, I mean,
I could only think of one other.
I can think of 2.
A 2-sport?
I can think of 2.
Okay. I can only think of one right now.
Katie King,
right,
and Tara Mounsey, who played 2 years of field hockey.
Yep.
The corner kick came towards center, knocked to Jolson, chips it across. Cats try to track it down, and whoa.
And you talk about Mounsey, Mike, for a second. You know, the record she set in field hockey, she did in only 2 seasons. I remember because last year we honored her at halftime at a basketball game, and we were running. And, I never really paid attention to the field hockey side of things because that wasn't one of the sports I covered while she was here. But it was
Ann Trafton resents you for that forever.
It was just amazing at her accomplishments as a field hockey player, too, and let alone what she did as an ice hockey player.
She scored 50 goals in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean,
some crazy figure.
And it took, until this past year for somebody to beat that record in 4 seasons. So it would have been quite interesting to see what she could have done in 4 full seasons in field hockey as well.
A good ball for Sasha Stevens on that left side. The turn, good idea. It rolls to center, and Sarah Cobb bails the Bears out. Again, the counterattack from Penn, Mike, very, very sharp.
Well, it's always dangerous when a team's able to get in deep inside the 18 and you play that ball back across the middle because not only do they have their own forwards and midfielders attacking, but the defenders trailing back as well. That's when you get some of those weird deflections or just mishits.
On that far side, the ball knocked away by Hogan Vivier. Ticking down inside to about 16 to play here in the first half. You're joining us late. You've missed quite a first half, that's for sure. The Bears out on top 1-0 by virtue of a Carly Gould penalty kick goal. And what has been a very even match between the 18s. And nice play by Sarah Moody. The Bears have been sharp here on Senior Day.
Yeah, only 1 shot on goal to speak of for both teams. Penn with a slight advantage in corner kicks, but Bears will take that right now. Like you said, though, most of the play in between the 18s, not a whole heck of a lot in terms of scoring chances for either team. That's why it was so crucial for Gould to convert on that PK because, as we've seen over the years in these Ivy games, Mike, the chances are few and far between.
Katz gets her motor running, able to try and swing that ball away. Up steps Gould, comes away with the ball. Touch back, looking to the near side for Jolson. Jolson keeps it moving. A good idea for Grant. Grant had about 20 yards to catch up to it and was able to put enough pressure on to draw the throw.
Yeah, could have used just a little bit more touch back towards midfield rather than completely lateral on the square pass, but again, not a bad idea.
Near side, the ball tossed back, kicked across the field. Not sure if that's what Grant wanted, but...
No, I think she's a natural lefty, like that one hit with her right. Still, an okay ball.
Vivier, as the ball knocked down at center. Beach wanted to wind up, but it's awayed by the D. It comes back to Grant, middle of the field for Moody. She'll switch, finds Beach in transition. Right to left comes the Brown attack. Off to that far side, picked up by Davenport. A good ball ends up in the breadbasket of Kalisha Turilli again, who has been active.
She's had to be active. Like the ball, that's probably the 5th or 6th time that the Bears have been able to send one in towards the 6th with, runners bearing down on Turilli. But, she's a quality competitor. She might not have played all the minutes she did last year this season, but certainly has come to play today.
A tough touch, a couple of tough touches by Lehan, and that one knocked away. It'll be a corner kick. I thought it may have been off of Olivia Blaber, but the referee thought otherwise, and
yeah, it was
Penn's going to change.
Close.
Penn's going to bring in Lindsay Sajak, the junior out of Alexandria, Virginia, and also it looks like...
Well, now it looks like they're going to wave off the subs.
The referee is saying if you're checked in, you got to come in. And they're trying to step back, and no, the referee's saying you can't. Once I'm waving them on, you're waved on.
Yeah, I don't think coaches could pull them all the way back.
So Maddie Dawkins, the other Quaker to check in, as it looks like Mikolai and Stevens will check out. Inside 13 and a half to play.
Sawchuk and Dawkins each with a goal this season.
Going in for number 2, Erin Mikolai.
So the corner now from the near side will be taken by Sawchuk.
It's a good corner kick. One in the air, off the crossbar, saved by Lehan. She got a hand on it, and it went off the iron.
And Mike, the difficulty on that save is Etzel's feet were moving one direction, had to jump back the other direction.
Mike, that is...
got the hand up and made the save.
That might be the save of the season. We've seen some dandies, as that one is also saved by the Brown freshman. Mike, let's say it. Go ahead and say it. You've talked about this since the day we were put together on the air.
Well, Mike, again, the big frame of Etzel, we've had some diminutive netminders over the years, but at 5'11", Christine Etzel, very athletic at that height as well. And it has come into play. I mean, we've seen it multiple times where, she's getting a fingertip on it. And, there's another example. She was able to react, reverse direction, get the hand up, make the save. And, it's one of those difficult corners from the near side. Sun, not as much of a factor right this second as some of the cloud cover behind us, but still, always difficult when that ball changes direction like that.
That was just a very challenging sequence.
And then credit Beach too, Mike. Beach she had to fight for the ball off the crossbar after Etzel made the save and was able to clear it away.
Michelle Jolson, a good transition right to left, a takeaway by the defense, and Nesmith off to that far side. Cobb trying to run it down, steps into it. Penn with numbers. The turn, it's Sajak. The shot blocked. Lehan gets a piece of it. Check that was Blaber, not Sajak. Ball lobbed in. Cobb heading it. And then Beach knocking it away out to Katz, who will play it out to the flank. DeSimone's going to try and run it down. She'll then sag back with Lombard there for Penn. Ball pushed up that far side, headed by Vivier. It loops back to Vivier, second ball, and turned on that far side. Bears are going to get called for a foul as Katz a little too handsy-grabby.
Yeah, but at the same time, the player, was it Stevens out there? No, not Stevens.
Nesmith.
Nesmith had her arm up, kind of fending her off in her neck area. So, Katz is just trying to kind of get position as well, but when she has an arm in her neck, makes it a little bit more difficult. And that's what she's talking to the official. And you could say, she's saying, I was getting grabbed too, I was getting held off, and the referee says, I don't care. We're going to call it anyway. And Katz, I was going to say, she looked a little bit closer than 10 yards there. Finally moves back another step or two.
A lot of contact as
Cobb
Cobb
got shoved down.
Yeah.
It was the number 5, Hennessy, just shoving Cobb down. And then Hennessy actually got to the ball as well.
Substitutions for the Bears is the heroine of last week, Celia Story, with a couple of goals against Cornell. The reigning Ivy and player and rookie of the week checks in for Michelle Jolson, who should be all smiles. Terrific minutes from her. Jillian DeSimone off for Michaela Waldman. So a couple of seniors check off, Mike, after some very solid minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, credit Coach Pincince, the classy move. He kept everybody in. 35 minutes. We're down to under 10 now.
Yeah.
And he kept out that starting unit today, which features a lot of, different faces for what we've seen this season. in the starting 11. They played well. They played really well.
Mind you, folks, our surprise isn't that he played them. It's the crispness with which this different unit seemed to play.
Especially a player like Vivier, Mike. I mean, she hasn't played since the fourth game of the season, and she's out there at the right back position and playing well.
Story back for Gould as she was stood up. A tough touch by Gould. And left to right now comes Dawkins up the near side. Continues to work in transition. The ball got too far in front of her, and Beach says,
Classic Beach right there, Mike. The hard tackle, but the legal tackle this time. Oh, what a defensive play.
Her parrot sitting in front of us. You know they love that.
Well, they should. That's just, we've seen that how many times over the years. And nice to see her not pick up the foul that time.
Yeah, that was textbook. That was textbook and all ball. And there's one of my colleagues who would say about Dawkins, that's what you call an attention getter.
Yeah, that's a hello, how you doing?
Meanwhile, a foul the other way. Penn will restart. Ball knocked upfield. A little bit of a collision. Looked like Moody was pushed out of the way.
Well, it looked like Moody had an arm bar in the back of the 22 Blaber.
Nice turn. Vivier able to come away with it. That one looked like it glanced off of a chest. And out to the far side. In transition comes Waldman, just couldn't catch up to it. And we'll have a throw.
The effect of fresh legs there, too, with DeSimone, who's maybe running out of gas. She was making those long 50, 60-yard sprints. Now with Waldman out there, perhaps the Bears could build something offensively on that side of the field as Grant got away with a handball there, but winds up being a Brown throw anyway.
The number of handballs that were let go at Tuesday's men's match between the Bears and UMass Lowell was incredible. The shoulder was called, but the fist was not.
Yeah, I tuned in. Obviously, I was unable to make that game, but I was tuning in via the Ivy League Digital Network, and yeah, that seemed like a tough one.
It was a strange
all the way around.
Game. It was a strange game.
Well, you figure you're going to get that kind of game sometimes. Midweek, non-conference, late in the season.
Well, UMass Lowell wanted to slow the game down, and Brown said, okay.
Yep.
As that one deflects out of bounds for a Brown throw in deep. 7.5 minutes remaining.
Bears will make another change here. They will check in Jen Caruso.
Caruso for Katz. Again, fresh legs. Good minutes for Erin Katz. The bemasked one.
Wonder if she'll incorporate it into a Halloween costume today. You go as Bill Lambier or something. Small Bill Lambier.
Yeah, you have to mention him of all people.
It's the first masked man that I could think of.
Yeah. I remember there was a season where Larry Joe Bird wore one too, but
the whole season?
For half of a season. He got an elbow in the eye. I remember reading about it in his autobiography because I got to learn the term zygomatic arch.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember from your human bio days, I hope?
I do. But,
no one's going to question you if you don't.
But that's, I don't remember him playing with a mask.
That was for a brief part of, I think,
granted,
like
I wasn't as big a Celtics fan.
84, 85 season. I was little. I was really little.
Jack Gorab in attendance here. Making his way through the crowd as, of course, the men's team will kick off at 7 tonight in a crucial Ivy League match against Penn.
Ball in front, Story. Just trying to get a little touch to it there.
Story, the hero last weekend, the 2 goals. He's got 3 on the season now. Tied for second on the team in goals and has second all alone in points.
Yeah, my aversion to players with masks and goggles were because Lambert wore them and so did Kareem. And when you're a Celtic fan, you couldn't like either one of them.
This is true. Sun a little bit brighter now. Clouds have moved on.
Moody working through traffic. Out to the flank for Waldman. Not a bad ball. Waldman will look to turn on it. Puts it across and into the hands of Turilli.
And unfortunately for the Bears, that's about the 4th time now that they've sent it into the 6 right in that exact spot where Turilli doesn't really have to move too much. Kind of right at the near post, but without a runner there to make it more dangerous. Winds up being an easy play for the keeper.
Middle of the field, Beach comes back to the ball. A good challenge there. Vivier with a poke. Caruso checks back. Waldman on the one touch back. And a just miscommunication there with, I think she was looking to give it back to Caruso.
And Etzel will let it roll all the way back inside her own 6. A little light pressure there out of Davenport. Etzel will move everybody up ahead as we are under 5 minutes to play In the first half, Bears enjoying a 1-0 lead courtesy of the Carly Gould converted penalty kick in the 21st minute.
Good stick on this near side by Hennessy. Off the head of Beach, who got a touch. Moody turns, bottom of the kickoff circle. Off to the flank for Vivier. Tough and unlucky touch as it deflected first off Dwyer and then off Vivier. And they're stopping the clock.
I don't know if we have a blood issue, perhaps. He's calling Vivier, yeah, right off her knee.
Oh, yeah, look at that. You can see the crimson.
Now, if I would kind of take my time. He stopped the clock. She's in a full sprint to come over here.
Oh, she wants back on the field. They're going to get Jacqueline Alois up cold, Mike. Makes me wonder.
I would almost. I mean, the referee was obviously going to give her some time to get it bandaged up. But Alois will have to have it over to that right back spot with 4:20 on the clock, Mike, here in the first half. There's Penn throw there from the far side. And he's going to sub out the Penn player as well. Maybe she has a little blood. Is that Dawkins? No.
Nesmith.
Nesmith. His
19.
numbers on the front of the jersey.
Oh, I'm not even guessing. I went by process of elimination because I saw Dawkins and over on the near side, and that's going to bring Penn's Farah Otero Ahmad in. The sophomore out of Berkeley, California. I was talking to somebody today who was trying to think about grad school and was trying to decide between Berkeley and Brown. And I said, well, one's a pretty liberal arts place out on the near coast and one is not. So other than that, you know, you got some good choices there. I can't speak too much about grad school. I didn't do grad school here. And we've already established that I've never been to California. Far side trying to squeeze it through for Waldman out of bounds. We're into the final 4 minutes of this first half with the Bears still on top, 1-0. Best chance of the day for Penn came after kind of a broken sequence and a tough ball. Edsel able to save and parry off the crossbar. Alois, again, who just entered the game cold, keeps it alive on that far flank did Waldman and then lost the handle. Down to a little more than 3 to play here in the first half. 1-0. Here's the throw. Ball hits off a heel. It was a Penn heel and a Brown throw. I don't think the Bears have any awareness that Celia Story is wide open on this near side. Caruso trying to fight her way through, and she wanted to head that out toward the top of the six, Mike, where Story was checking too. Just couldn't snap the neck around.
Yeah, well, the angle that she was approaching the ball would have made
that darn near
very
impossible.
Difficult unless she's an owl, but unfortunately for her neck doesn't quite bend that way.
You're saying she's not an owl.
Saying her neck doesn't rotate 180. But you know, the Bears obviously right now, as we've stated, unfortunately through most of the home games, this has been the Bears' danger zone. And they have to be very careful here. Last couple of minutes of a half.
Play 45 minutes.
You got to just play to that final whistle here in the half. And, you know, keep on the attack. You know, they haven't really.
Oh, nice look by Caruso for Story, who fights off.
Three Quakers,
gets it back to Beach, who sends it ahead. Here comes Waldman, who fights her way through. Yeah. And I think they're going to get her for the handball.
And it did, but, you know, good pressure there by Waldman coming all the way from the far side of the field as I think it was Dwyer was trying to clear it away.
Into the 2-minute warning here. Crunch time of the first half. Moody first ball. Story chopped there by.
Yeah, she got popped
by Hennessy. It's the second time we've seen Hennessy take one of the Bears down.
And I think the ref had a tough view of it, Mike. He was shielding his eyes. I was watching him, and he was shielding his eyes, caught in one of those sunspots. And I don't think he got a good look at it, but still, tough play for Story, who's a little bit shaken up.
Here came a Waldman trying to fight her way through. Moody couldn't get there. Ahmad back. Nice stick by Moody. Works forward. Turns back. Plays it for Caruso. Caruso, Moody, and now out to the flank for Waldman. Good patience from the Bears. Waldman gets a step on the defender, puts it across. The touch by Caruso is knocked away. Set by Alois, looking back for Caruso perhaps. Gets around Otero Amat on that far side for Waldman again. She cuts back the defender, puts it across. Up goes Story, and it's out of bounds. And a great sequence there. Showing some patience was the Brown attack.
Well, patience and some good second and third efforts out there. As you know, it all started, there was actually, Moody turned it over, but then she fought back and got it back right around the kickoff circle. That kept the attack going. Alois with some nice work to get it to Waldman as well.
Into the final half minute of the first half, and what has been a very entertaining soccer match here between Brown and Penn. Senior day, of course, and they'll get Beach for a ticky-tack foul. Now they're going to stop the clock and back the Bears off. That's the right thing to do, as much as I hate to say it.
Right thing, but just silliness out of the Bears. Just back off. You know, time is ticking away. There was only 12 seconds. If you get out of the way, it's going to make it difficult for Penn to get it back and play in time anyway. But now you stop the clock and kind of give them a second chance.
Middle of the field. Turned, headed down. Gould will knock it away. And the Bears learn from some of their mistakes of earlier this season. They will carry a 1-0 lead into the locker room here at halftime. Mike, a good first half for the Brown Bears. Actually, probably the best first half we've seen out of them here in 2015.
Yeah, it really was, kind of from beginning to end there. We wonder how they would handle the extra emotion and pressure of senior day and Coach Pincince's final home game. And they performed quite admirably there and came through with a 1-0 lead. So now it's just a matter of putting together another 45 minutes here in the second half.
I got to tell you, there are a few of the recent Brown alums who are here with little ones, much like you and I have here on Halloween. And, you know, middle of a match, they give a wave to Coach Pincince, and he smiles up at the crowd and a couple of his student athletes. And those are the sort of things that you just can't discount. What he's been for the program, and he carries a 1-0 lead. Be a good conversation, I'm sure, to have in the locker room with Brown on top. 1-0. It's halftime. We're going to step aside. We'll be back here with some halftime festivities. Senior Day here in Providence. Halftime on Senior Day here at Stevenson Pincince Field alongside Mike Mancuso. I'm Mike Rubin. Mike, let's talk some numbers, shall we?
Well, it's a little bit deceptive because in reading the halftime stats here, it has Penn up 7-1 in total shots, corner kicks 5-1 in favor of the Quakers, saves. Torelli has not been called upon to make a save for Penn. Christine Etzel, 3 for the Bears, fouls the Bears with 5, Penn with 4. But the one stat that matters the most, Mike, of course, goals. It was Carly Gould, her 6th of the season, on a penalty kick in the 21st minute. That the difference thus far. It was a great hustle play and touch play by Michelle Jolson, a senior playing her final home game, that really earned the penalty kick for the Bears before Gould was able to convert it. So, you know, mostly evenly played first half by both teams, mostly played inside the 18s, as could be, you know, seen by the only total of 4 shots on goal combined for the two teams. But, you know, I thought the Bears had a little extra jump in their step today, and they kept up the intensity throughout most of that first 45 minutes. There might have been a lull, I think about 15 minutes in, where Penn kind of held down, the Bears locked in for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. But besides that, pretty even game and a pretty exciting game despite the lack of shots.
Mike, let's turn our attention to the second half for obvious reasons. I think arguably well, I'm going to say it. I think this half will define our season.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no kind of thing, but I think most importantly...
I don't mean the Brown women's soccer season. I mean our season. And what I mean by our season is what we've seen. Have they learned lessons? Have they grown? Have they learned, how to play 90 minutes against a league opponent? They played 90 minutes against Florida Atlantic. They played a good 45 minutes against Providence College. Have they learned to play 90 minutes? And that's what I mean at this stage of the game by the definition, not necessarily when we look at the body of work.
Yeah, and it's very, I think, telling how they played that first 45 minutes. As we've seen a lot of the struggles this year happening in the first half. You know, they've kind of relied on being a second half team, much like we saw last weekend up at Cornell. But, you know, I think that they have a chance to do something special. You know, they have a chance to send off their coach, who is retiring after the season with a win here at home. And I think that that would mean more to this team than anything they could possibly do this season at this point. So, you know, we'll see what they could do. And, you know, I know we're hoping they could do it, and I know they want to do it. And we'll just have to wait and see. 45 minutes to go.
They're playing the Time Warp song. It's almost like the Brown Band is here.
Well, and the sun starting to be less and less of a factor here as well, Mike. Temperatures dipping down, a little bit cooler as well. We started off maybe the upper to mid-50s. Those temps certainly dropping now. As a shame we don't have you on camera right now with the jig you're doing over here.
Hey, it's I'm actually not a bad dancer, but I'm great when the song tells me exactly what to do.
Well, again, too bad the camera wasn't focused on you for that one.
Somebody's bound to have it. There's a camera in everyone's pocket these days.
Yeah, pretty much. As looks like a bunch of the seniors coming back out to start this second half, Mike. I think
hey, if it ain't broke, why
found
fix
something
it?
that worked in the first half. They played 35 minutes as a starting 11, and look like they're going to get some more burn here in the second half, and why not? Again, a couple of final scores we talked about earlier. Princeton clinching the Ivy League title today with a 2-0 win over Cornell at home, and Harvard playing to a 1-1 double overtime draw with Dartmouth, which effectively made it so they couldn't tie for a share of the title this year, despite whatever happens next weekend.
And we're underway here in the second half. Penn in the road blues with the red numerals white trim. They will attack right to left. The Bears in their home whites with brown numerals black trim, attacking left to right in front of the teal and yellow kitted goaltender Christine Etzel.
And the extra ball on the field will cause a stoppage here by the official as they try to figure this out. He's got the ball right next to him. I don't know why he's not playing it wide, but there we go.
There we go. Ball turned in. Interestingly enough, it looks like is Tarilli back? I'm sorry, I think Nesmith has had to start for Waketi here in this second half. Waketi went out.
Yeah, when she came out, Mike, she was a little bit gimpy coming off the field after that collision with DeSimone. Ooh.
Oh, the referee right there with the finger wag. It looked like it hit the hand of Sarah Moody.
Yeah, that's because it did hit the hand of Sarah Moody. And
okay.
Bears very lucky that was right at the corner of the 18 as well. That would have been the least ideal way to start a half.
Right to left.
That time it was actually good to see the finger waggle out of John Jordan, our head official today.
Jolson back for Grant. Big slide. Got the ball. It's transitioned. Moody on the flank for Jolson, and both Jolson and Katz thought the other was going to come away with it. Nevertheless, it's out of bounds for a Brown throw. Couple of minutes into this second half, just underway. The only goal of this one scored by Carly Gould on a PK after Michelle Jolson was mauled on the edge of the near side of the box.
And no controversy to the call. Pretty obvious for everyone in attendance. No real dissent out of Penn, as it really couldn't be.
The transition for the Quakers. The ball knocked upfield, touched by Lehan, but back to Penn's Olivia Blaber. Blaber tries to get around Grant, sent out to Jolson. Jolson will turn left to right. She'll work up that far flank. It's turned back. I'm having a hard time in dusk picking up the numbers for Penn.
Well, they're unreadable on the front of the jerseys and tough in the...
Nesmith working against DeSimone, knocks it up field. A lot of hustle for Stevens to come down with the ball on the near flank. Turns on Cobb, puts it across. Blaber the header, and the save by Etzel.
Not an easy save at all, as Etzel was, had to go low that time as this little snap down header. Able to kind of have the initial parry to the side, kept it out of the net, and then gobbled up the rebound as well.
Cole Van Dyke lobbying for something.
I think they were trying to say that it came over the end line after Etzel touched it, and they wanted a corner, but that did not seem to be the case.
A valid dissent. And she's looking at the AR on this side. There is no way he is making that call.
He's not responsible for it anyway. So
yeah, there's no way he's making that call.
From up here, it certainly didn't look like it was really that close at all.
DeSimone for Gould. Tough touch. Comes back out to Dwyer. And Penn has come out strong to start this second half. Bears can ill afford to play a game of hang-on soccer for 45 minutes. So here's Beach, transition out to the flank for Jolson. She'll work left to right, comes back towards center, looks to perhaps pull the trigger, has some room, drops it back for Moody. Moody will play it out to Vivier. She'll turn, puts it across. DeSimone, the header, and set out to Vivier. She'll head it ahead, wanted to get it to DeSimone again, and awayed by the Penn defense. Or defense, if you put the accent on the right syllable. Near side, it comes for DeSimone. Tries to cut back on Nesmith. They continue to battle up the near side. DeSimone with the possession. Gets down toward the end line. Puts it across. Good look for Katz. Up steps Gould. Ball to the top of the 18. Second touch for Katz. The turn! Over the net.
Yeah, just couldn't get her feet really planted on that one correctly. It was kind of a high-rising bounce as well for Katz. Couldn't turn the hips as much and really get behind it. But a nice build up there by the Bears. A couple of seniors involved, getting that ball moved from right to left and then back left to right across the field. Katz with the eventual shot, but unable to convert.
Middle of the field, a header there by Sawzuk. Junior out of Alexandria, Virginia. Beach for DeSimone. She'll cut back towards center. Trying to get around Nesmith. Cuts back. Drives a shot. It's blocked.
And that was actually a very huge block there. Paige Lombard able to get in that way, that offering from DeSimone, as that one looked like it was heading towards that far post off the initial strike. Would have been an interesting play for Turilli.
About 5 minutes plus gone here. 6th minute of this second half. Nice throw by Vivier. Knocked down there off the midsection of Gould. And then set up field by Nesmith. Tricky bounce. Kick through. And off her line comes Edsel. She'll walk it back in. And gobble it up.
Stevens with the pressure that time to make Edsel make a play on it, but fortunately had a nice spin to make it down to Edsel for an easy pickup.
Penn coming off a 2-1 win over Yale a weekend ago, and that'll be a foul.
Yeah, that was an ill-timed challenge that time from DeSimone as she got right to the back of Carolyn Dwyer, senior versus senior, and that one's got to sting a little bit for Dwyer. DeSimone perhaps lucky she didn't pick up a card. If this one had a little bit more aggression on both sides, and there'd been a lot more fouls, and probably would have seen yellow come out of the pocket of John Jordan.
Ball knocked Moody for DeSimone. Moody in transition, double teamed, rolls it out toward midfield, where it's picked up by Hennessy, who's been involved in a couple of aggressive challenges of her own. Bouncing ball on the foot of Treshka. Vivier looking for Katz perhaps, knocks it out toward midfield. It'll be picked up there by Ryan Wingett, who has checked in at the half at one of the two center back spots for Penn. And here comes Beach in transition. She has Katz and Gould making a run. Turns on the far side, steps over it, works to cross over the top.
Oh, what a save that time, Mike. That one might have been heading in towards the net. Turilli, a fantastic play with Gould on the doorstep. But what an effort by Beach.
What a run by Beach. What a run.
And that was about a 40, 50-yard sprint with the ball, knocking off defenders, keeping track of it, and able to put a great ball in on frame.
Corner kick for the Bears. Their second of the afternoon under the falling tree on that far side. Ball driven out. Turn back Jolson. Can Cobb get a touch? Chips it over. It hits a body. And, oh, that looked like a handball.
I think it was actually her hair whipped down. But, yeah, at first I thought, and I was like, oh, nope, that was her hair.
Middle of the field, Jolson looking ahead. A good idea for Katz.
Oh, maybe would have liked to seen Jolson pull the trigger there. Katz was in good position, but Turilli heads up play again off her line. Good sequence for the netminder of the Quakers.
Ball is going to run for a goal kick. We'll tell you that Brown Soccer brought to you by Coca-Cola. Open happiness. Quakers getting in a late substitution is Erica Higa, the sophomore out of Los Altos Hills, California.
Another one of those Californians, probably loving this chilly New England fall weather.
She's got gloves on, but no long sleeves, so I give her credit. There are some players out there wearing the long sleeves.
Not too many.
We were picked on if we wore long sleeves. Now they would call it bullying, but back then I think it was just some good-natured ribbing if you wore long sleeves under your jersey and it weren't 10 degrees out. You played in snow. I mean, I know I give you a hard time because you're from the Southwest.
Yeah,
but
I got to say, I did probably wear long. Actually, some of our uniforms were long sleeves.
I did have a long sleeve. I did have a long sleeve jersey, complete with collar, Mike.
Oh yeah, of course. Back then, you had to have the
collar was something special. Right to left comes Traska, comes to the wing for Sawzuk. She turns, ball hit off of Cobb. Beach got a little shove there, and DeSimone will send it away. Right to Katz. Katz back for Beach, and Beach will outlet it to the near side. DeSimone keeping it alive, heading it down. It'll be picked up by the 12, that's Lombard.
Mikolai, some fancy footwork to keep it alive, but Turf Monster taking down Sasha Stevens again, and an easy play for Etzel.
About 10 minutes gone here in the second half. First game ever played on the newly renamed Stevenson Pincince Field. And for those of you who joined us late, they decided earlier this week to rename the soccer lacrosse facility. Again, Cliff Stevenson coached both soccer and lacrosse here for a number of years, was an Ivy League champion in both. Near side, here's DeSimone on the run, and that'll run on Nesmith for a throw. Coach Pincince has spent more than 600 games here as the soccer coach, another few hundred as the softball coach, and found out on Monday that not only were they renaming this field for him, but in true Ivy fashion and Brown fashion, honoring him with emeritus status, which means quite a bit in the academic world, and I'm not even going to begin to get into the details of that.
Yeah, it's a distinction to administrators who have served a minimum of 15 years. He certainly qualifies in that. We almost qualify in that now.
I think you're right.
Yeah, Coach Pincince, 322 career wins heading into today's game. Ranks 15th in the NCAA.
There's that corner kick, and they're going to get a collision.
Well, I think they're going to say Katz.
Yeah, it was Katz.
Getting tangled up with the netminder, and another player down there went down awkwardly as Lehan was
Lombard.
crashing in.
Lombard and Lehan just got their legs tangled.
Yeah, you see that call quite a bit off corners.
No question.
But yeah, you talked about Coach Pincince as a softball coach as well. 270 wins against just 183 losses.
592 wins between the two sports.
Not bad. He's been a National Coach of the Year.
A couple All-Americans. I think 45 All-Ivy players. Is that the number? 85 All-Ivy. I'm sorry. 85 All-Ivy players.
Yeah, for a combined 178 honors.
Yeah.
We're talking multiple, first teamers over 3-4 years, or, going from Rookie of the Year to Player of the Year. I mean, he's just done so much here in the 39 seasons. Kind of fitting that, I think it was in his first season. What was his first season?
77.
77, so, all right, so 2 seasons in was when they named the facility Stevenson Field, and then
Cliff actually got to coach on the field, bore his name for about a decade before finally retiring in the early, I think it was after the 1990 season.
He was here that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because then Trevor Adair was here for 4 years, 91, 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
And then he gave way to Mike Noonan, and everybody remembers the 95 season as Mike Noonan's first with some truly great players.
Also one of the most exciting seasons.
Yeah, 94,
95 were, those are just
2 great years.
Lucky for me, my first introduction to any Brown athletics, as Etzel watches that one go wide from Stevens.
Yeah, and the Brown women and the Brown men doing the double dip back in 94, clinching both Ivy League championships. That was the only time, believe it or not, despite all of those championships, that both teams won, and that's with the Brown men having 20 Ivy League championships over the years and the Brown women with 12. They only did it together once.
Very strange, and I don't know. It was my first year here on campus, Mike. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
For the record, Mike neither played for the men nor had...
or the women.
Or the women. Well, you know, hey, we're progressive. We're progressive.
But certainly saw my share of games that year. An exciting time here.
I was talking to Coach Pincince about how many soccer games you and I have not seen or seen together. And it's scores. Scores and scores, hundreds and hundreds of games. And
it's probably even more if you count the overtime minutes as opposed to 4 extra games.
Last year, the Brown men alone, we saw them go to overtime 5 times. 2 years ago, the Brown women played 3-0-0 draws. So, quite a few.
A lot of bonus soccer.
A lot of bonus soccer. I think my favorite overtime match is still the, I'm trying to think. The Brown-Yale men's game was a good one. Down at the Brown-Dartmouth one, I'm sorry, down at Yale. That was a good one.
Yeah, that almost has to
be the number one.
Be number one, but
on the women's side, a little foul on that far side. On the women's side, that's a tough one. I remember there being a really great one against Princeton. I think it was in 2000. That was ended up being a 2-1 win. It might have been 2004, but that was a good one. Oh, good ball to the near side. The turn over to that far post, and that's a foul.
Yeah.
Cobb just run down by Higa.
Yeah, Higa really making no attempt to stop at all. Plowing right into Cobb there at the top of the 6. AR's flag going crazy. Easy call for the ref. But, you know, that was a pretty dangerous ball played across. I think it was Dwyer that put it into the mixer that time. And again, as we talk about, when you're able to drop it in kind of behind the defense, as your attackers are coming in, the defenders are getting back, just a lot of crazy things can happen with that.
Etzel puts the ball upfield. It's over the head of Beach, knocked Vivier with a shin on it. Gould got inside position, settled there by Trashka, who settles in the midfield. 16 minutes gone here in the second half. Near side, the ball rolls to Nesmith. Works around DeSimone and dribbles it out of bounds. Do you have a favorite Phil moment, Mike?
A favorite Phil moment? You know, I have to go back to, I think it was the 96 season. So obviously, as a student here, and I think that was my first year covering the team officially for the Brown Daily Herald here. And he liked what I was doing and thought I was treating his team fairly and actually let me travel with the team. It was the first time he had let a reporter travel with the team in, like, I don't know, a decade or something.
That's a great ball.
And that really, you know, was the biggest step, I think, in the relationship with Coach Pincince and the program. And I appreciated that. It gives you a whole other look into a team. You know, you see them before game, after game, meals, you know, all that kind of stuff.
There's nothing like travel. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so I think that was one of my favorite. You know, you get to sit with the coaches at the dinner because until I think senior day or the last game of the season on the road, he always wanted me to, you know, stay separate from the players, which was understandable. And but just kind of the informal talks with the coaches, I always found so fascinating. And I'll always remember that. And, you know, after that, other coaches let me travel as well, both on the men's and the women's side. So it kind of, you know, I think they felt, you know, if Phil says it's okay, then we could say it's okay. You know, and you credit other coaches like Digit Murphy, who was a longtime hockey coach here. And, you know, Mike Noonan let me travel a couple times with the men's teams when you couldn't make it. And that was one of the more special things. And also, one more real quick is just my senior year. They had a function on senior day after the game, and my parents happened to be here for Parents Weekend, as it fell on that weekend too. And he said some really, really nice things about me in front of them, and I'll never forget that as well, as it was, you know, basically a senior day for me too.
Ball chipped up, track back to Vivier, and deflects it off of a Quaker leg, and that'll allow the Bears the opportunity to bring Amanda Lane into the game.
See who's going to come out. It looks like Moody's going to get a little bit of a break right here as well.
Yeah, she's been put under duress here in this last maybe 5-6 minutes.
So now I have to ask you, Mike, your favorite film. I know you must have a ton as well. It's hard to kind of single out a
I think
special
one of my
moment.
favorite moments being, really, I never wrote for the team. A little bit of a brief time in '99 when we were between writers after you had graduated. Actually, it was '98, '99 after you had graduated. But I think my favorite moment was in the end of the 2003 season as that ball loops over. We did a show in a studio at the time.
That's right. The coaches show. The
favorite coaches show. And we had 10 seniors there. And it was the first time he had brought in 10 members of a class, and they all graduated together. And we did a show around the table with all 10 players and coach. And you could see the pride that he had in the fact that they had done that class of 2004. You saw how that's a foul there against the Quakers, no advantage. And the referee says to Beach, I got it, don't worry about it. There was just something very special about that after that evening. And it was really one of the first times that I feel like I had felt like I had moved from just being the guy who called the game to the guy who felt like he was part of the family.
Right.
Maybe like that day that you traveled with them. And again, I was more involved with men's soccer as an undergraduate, and I think that the other moment is actually kind of a dark moment in Brown women's soccer history. It was after the 2000 season, the team had gone 13-4 and really deserved, I think, one of the at-large bids.
They were absolutely robbed that year.
They went 13-4. They had beaten some very good teams. I think they had tied Penn State. They had had a very, very solid season, and the RPI was high enough to warrant a bid into the national tournament. And the conversation that we had together after that moment and after that selection show, it's going to stick with me forever. It's made me a better educator. It's made me a better, I think, person because of the class and the dignity with which he approached his team and then approached the rest of us that happened to be there that day. And again, it's funny that they're both kind of moments that happened off the field. Same as you.
Well, and I think that just goes to show the impact that he has. Now, not only obviously on us, but the players. I mean, the hundreds of players he's coached over the years, and it almost seems to me that a lot of them would talk about the things off the, that had nothing to do with playing in games or things like that really left.
And I'll tell you, there
maybe a bigger impact on
and I think
lives.
you and I both know that the days of just learning soccer with him, talking about the games or talking about things you could do differently, our regular weekly chats that we have had, and I've had with him now for the better part of the last 14 years or 15 years. When you hop into the office with your copy of the weekend preview as there's a stoppage for a blood issue. Those are the sort of things that stick with you long beyond, I'll ever kick a ball again.
Right.
Now with the clock stop, they'll reset things here. 24 minutes even here on the clock.
And we'll get back into game action here, Mike. The Bears definitely not just sitting back in this, which was something that we were, wondering, would they? Sometimes you get that 1-0 lead, you want to just hold on, but the Bears have continued to try to attack and press for another goal. And that's exactly what you'd want to see. We've talked about, ad nauseum, the 90 minutes.
Oh, good ball. Beach takes a shot. Fought her way through the defender, Mike, and just couldn't put that one back toward frame.
Well, credit Natasha Davenport sliding over at the last second and kind of altered the angle that Beach had to approach that shot. Really didn't have much of a choice. Tried to kind of slide it in towards that near post, but by that point, Davenport had sealed it off. As again, Nesmith trying to pop it over for Stevens.
Stevens working against Cobb, who sticks a leg out.
Yeah, nice work by Cobb again. He's been solid all season long.
It's like the Quakers looking to get Erin Mikolai back into the game. The senior out of Quakertown will replace sophomore Natasha Davenport. Well, little kick to the near side to keep it alive. The turn on Vivier, who's working there, is Dwyer. Gets to the middle of the field, kicks it across. Nicely read by Grant. Runs into a Quaker. Gould steps over. Little touch, knocks it to the flank. There is Jolson, and she'll turn and try and work against Mikolai. It's off Mikolai's foot. She keeps it alive. Back for Hennessy, and she'll play it upfield over the head of Grant. Lehan will slow things down. Sends it out toward midfield. I thought it was heading out of bounds myself. Hennessy marked there by Caruso, and the Bears will put him under and force it square. Here comes DeSimone. Was trying to read that pass.
Yeah, sneaky little anticipation move by DeSimone that time, and was trying to put Lombard under pressure.
Lombard knocking it to the near side. Gould fights her way past Nesmith, and it's slowed up out of bounds off of Paige Lombard for a Brown throw.
Yeah, the Bears getting ready to recheck in Celia Story and Michaela Waldman as they've been warming up. Now got the pennies on. They'll soon be checking in over at the table. Makes sense about midway through the second half, usually when you start seeing some of the subs come in.
Big collision. Beach taking out Gould, and I think it was just Gould happened to be also trying to challenge Sawzik, and they ended up hitting into each other.
Well, Gould never saw Beach coming over either. Now the referee telling Beach to chill out. Saying enough.
The individual talking to.
The mini finger waggle.
It was funny watching the, that looked like a handball. Man, maybe it was her chest.
It's that hair again, too.
Well, hey, you know.
Yeah.
The other day against UMass Lowell, there was the escalation. You watched it sort of develop. At first, there was the, the talk, general talk, to the specific talk, to the talk with the hand gesture, to the I'm stopping the game and giving you the no more of this, but no cards, fortunately. And I like when referees do that, you know, and still maintain control.
Yeah, as long as nothing's too egregious out there and, players don't kind of take advantage of that situation, which we've seen on occasions too.
DeSimone with the knock back for the Quakers was Wingett for Lombard, right to left. Working in transition, has room. Somebody's going to step to her. Knocked down by Lehan. The drive in on Edsel. Good looking shot.
Yeah, Sawzik really got all of that one. And fortunately for the Bears, Edsel was right in position to make the saves. But if that one's towards the corner, that could have been a little bit of trouble.
Ball out to that far side. Hennessy off Jolson. And it'll be a Penn throw. 20 minutes even left here in the match. 1-0. Bears still lead on the benefit of the Carly Gould penalty kick that was scored in the 21st minute. On that far side, Stevens marked there by Lehan. That ball still alive. And, I don't think Lehan would have let that run.
Yeah, she was pretty convinced that was off of Sasha Stevens, but the AR is saying, nope, not so much. So Stevens will have another corner kick, the 6th of the day for Penn. This one from the far side.
One in the air by Cobb. Second ball is knocked up and over the top.
Yeah, I think that was Higa coming in late and well underneath it.
Brown Soccer brought to you here on the ILDN by the Brown University Sports Foundation. Great students and great athletes need great donors. As a couple of seniors check off DeSimone and Jolson for the aforementioned Story. And Waldman with now 19 left here in the second half.
And you got to wonder if Coach Pincince will find a way to get either of them back into the match with, about 19 left here.
Putting under his Story as off her line came Turilli to knock it out to midfield. First ball won by the Quakers. That's a good ball. Cobb getting back before Carolyn Dwyer could do anything with it.
Cobb a little bit lucky that time that Dwyer decided to hesitate. It's almost like Dwyer started breaking on the ball and kind of stopped for a second there, which made it a little bit easier for Cobb to slide over and punch it out of bounds.
Quakers with the long throw in for Stevens, a little header. Big challenge, the shot in that hole! Coming off her line!
Again, a heck of a save by Christine Edsel, her third brilliant save of the match. That one she made with her legs. It's another tough call going against the Bears. Penn throw, they say.
Here comes the long throw. Taken, Lehan, didn't get much on the head. Beach sets it back. The drive hits a foot, and Beach knocks it out to the near side.
And Mike, that took 2 deflections that time before getting a wade out of the 18, but the Bears got to kind of wake up and snap out of it in a bit of a funk right now. You hope that they're not getting a little too tight here down the stretch.
That ball off ahead of Lehan.
Well, Lehan chopped down that time. I think it was Darby Mason, number 6.
Well, and I'm looking at the referee saying, the goalie has the ball.
Yeah, but you still got to call that or at least talk to the player because that's dangerous. Coming in low on the taller player like Lehan that time.
Oh, look at that punt.
Yeah, that's
got all of it.
I wouldn't want to get underneath that one.
Well, Traska did, and headed it out of bounds, so the Bears will take their time to head upfield and maybe regroup here. Again, with the lead. Penn with a little bit of a breeze at their back. They look at the flags across the field, there's not much. If you look at the flags at the scoreboard here, you see something going. That's typical.
Which is often the case here at this field. Swirling winds, kind of crazy. And
they're going to call Grant for a dangerous challenge. I didn't like it.
Well, he says the arm up by Grant, but yeah, I don't really care for that call either.
Higa giving up a few inches to Grant.
And again, how many times do you see the smaller player getting the benefit as well? See it a lot more on the men's side.
Ben Mowry was called for a foul somewhere for being Ben Mowry. Ball sent off the head of Gould. Bouncing back toward midfield. Good turn by Waldman. And settled back to Lombard. Middle of the field. Traska broken up. Here's Story for Caruso. Caruso cuts back. Has Waldman on the right side. She'll take it herself. And it's saved by Turilli.
Not the worst idea, but, certainly would have seen her like to maybe play it near side for Waldman or get in a little bit closer. That one coming from about 23, 24 yards out. You figure a keeper of the, caliber of Turilli able to make that save from
range.
Size.
I mean, Turilli's listed at 5'11".
Yep, exactly. And she's quality, too. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Vivier, the first touch. Cobb off a tricky bounce. Knocks it to the near side. Bears going to be a little bit more aware of the presence of Nesmith, but they get the break. As, again, Nesmith has that long throw, Mike, so Bears got to be aware. Off the head of Gould. Vivier, and now Sawzuk. That one looked like it was out of bounds. Beach in the middle of the field. A lot of congestion. Tries to work it back. Will go all the way to Edsel.
Always a dangerous proposition with a speedy Sasha Stevens up in the box that time.
Ball knocked upfield by Hennessy. Tried to long ball it to Stevens. She's turned by... No, it's a goal kick.
Ooh.
It went off of Stevens by way of McLean Lehan.
Maybe a makeup call there? I don't know. That was very close.
But, the way Stevens walked away, I'm guessing no.
Yeah. True. From up here, though, looked very close.
Oh, from up here, no question.
It nearly was one of those throw-ins of death over there in the far corner. You hate being locked in like that, and actually hit the corner flag.
And rolled the right way.
Over the end line, so Bears catch a mini break.
Gould, Waldman. Near side, ball headed. Edsel holds back, and Cobb turns that for a corner.
Well-timed challenge, though, by Cobb as Vivier kind of lost the inside position that time. So we'll have the 7th corner of the day. Stevens will play it short from Mikolai.
Mikolai cutting back on Waldman, has a good angle, puts it up toward the 6. And looked like Edsel with a rare mistime of the jump.
Well, what happened, Mike, it skimmed off the head of Lehan just as Edsel was about to punch it out.
And corner kick taken by number 9, Sasha Stevens.
So another corner for Sasha Stevens and the Quakers, number 8 on the day.
Up it's played, it hits a body. And turned to Waldman.
That's Story making the run.
Good ball for Story. Didn't quite catch her in transition. She tries to get around Dwyer, who's given it a touch back. A little hit upfield by Turilli. And again, Beach for Story on the left side.
Oh, Mike, that was just a huge defensive play
by
Marlon Dwyer.
By Dwyer, yep.
If she doesn't get in the way of Story.
Grant And now out to Beach. She heads it back toward the 18. Gould goes up, looking for Waldman, a little bit of a whiff, and Caruso just unable to track it down.
Oh, just too bad she couldn't get a good strike on that one, Mike, as Trilly was kind of backpedaling on it. But again, the Bears going on the offensive here down the stretch. That's what you want to see.
Gould, Lane trying to get a piece, and now Vivier heads it down. Lane to her feet. Vivier steps up, past Traska, and now Nesmith with the long ball. Middle of the D line was Lehan. Turned. Gould trying to work through center, headed down on that far side there was Wingett. And now here is Grant with the ball. Turns back, good look for Gould. Gould looking to keep it moving, will switch it up, trying to get it across to Waldman. It comes back out after Nesmith with the header. Caruso trying to turn, player all over was Lombard, well defended. Or check that was Wingett, well defended. Vivier puts it across, top of the 18. Stepping up was Gould, couldn't quite get a clean look at it. Turns, tries to drive, knocked away Lombard, and headed away by Higa. Working back comes Grant, stripping Sawzuk, and off of Lehan, an unlucky touch.
That's about as unlucky as it gets. Not only does it go off you, it goes off your face. Good pressure again by Stevens.
It's exciting, huh?
Yeah, we'll see how aggressive Penn gets down the stretch here. Will they change formations at all? Bring up another defender.
The ball runs for a Penn throw. We'll see if they bring up Hennessy. It looks like they will. We're ticking down to about 11 to play here in, well, now they send back Hennessy. She was running up. I thought she was going to take the long throw if she had a long throw. Ball thrown in, a unlucky bounce. Oh, goal kick. I thought it was off Grant.
Well, I guess unlucky depending on which team you're going.
I thought it was off Grant.
It was pretty close. It certainly was. There's been a lot of close calls on that side of the field near the end line.
Bears will take it.
See if anybody's going to get warmed up here. I think Moody and Katz might return to the field here for Coach Pincince down the stretch.
Oh.
High kick there by Nesmith.
They got to stop the play. That's a head.
Yeah, it's a head, and she's bleeding too. Yeah. And she got popped on a, dangerous kick.
I worry about
high
teeth.
Kick.
When I see that, I worry about teeth, mouth, but yeah. And Louis Ferrier lobbying for the high kick.
As he kind of should be.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't get hit in the head by accident. I understand that coach can't throw the red flag, but I mean, that didn't happen by accident.
No, it's. Let's see, Coach Pincince's going to call the team over. We've got 10 minutes, 16 seconds. Looks like Moody and Katz will check in the next chance they get.
We'll tell you that Brown Soccer brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, it's open happiness. Katz will be able to check in now. I would presume that.
Well, either one of them, if it's going to be Moody or Katz.
The good news is Waldman seems to be under her own power.
Well, they're doing the concussion protocol stuff, and as they should be. And we'll see if they could address any of the blood issues with it. Look, I mean, I know she was looking at her mouth as if trying to see, like, uh-oh. And
nothing worse. I mean, it's that moment of uncertainty after you get hit in the face, where you're a little bit wobbly and.
But again, the coaching staff with chance for some final instructions.
For both sides able to do so. This may be, Mike, the Auburn Waldman smiling, so that's a good sign. With 10:16 left, this may be akin to calling a timeout in basketball or hockey, where you only get one. Lacrosse, certainly you get a couple. So Waldman again off on her own power, seems to be okay, and she's smiling, which is always a good sign.
Well, I think she's happy. She's got all her teeth still.
Yeah, so well,
perhaps the biggest
it's
reason.
It's the little things.
DeSimone will actually check back in for Waldman.
And now Katz and Moody also standing by midfield.
Yeah, so DeSimone in as the injury sub.
So again, I mentioned this being like calling a timeout. Both teams able to perhaps establish both their attack and their back line. And the Bears doing the sportsmanlike thing as Caruso kicks it back to Turilli. It's nice that they're being sportsmanlike, considering there was no foul called. But that's neither here nor there. Or is it? On that far side. Put under pressure. That one off of Grant. And we're inside. 10 to play here from Stevenson Pincince.
Grant able to get a touch on it, but Story unable to get to the second ball.
Ball thrown in. Stevens being watched by Cobb. Trying to work toward that end line, perhaps to draw a corner kick, and will in fact do so. Tough break there with both Lehan and Cobb defending Stevens. She will now head over to take the corner kick here with the Quakers bringing up the house.
Yeah, only one player back. And
here's the corner. It's out toward the 6. One in the air by one of the Bears. Caruso.
Again, and that's Higa coming into the back.
And not called.
Yeah, I mean, that's a dangerous play. Players up in the air exposed, and you're coming in at their back.
Ahead it comes for Story. She has DeSimone on the flank. Has one defender to take. Gets it across. The ball just behind her, however. Back is Nesmith to pick up DeSimone. She steps over to the right side, working down toward the corner, and just gobbled up by Turilli, who I think came off her line hard. Not sure if that could have been a corner.
Yeah, might have got the shoelace of Nesmith, but like you said, Turilli unsure, doing the smart thing. Saw that she was able to get there, got it, and now punts it up ahead.
Bouncing ball, Grant, and now Gould. Bears with the counter. Off to the left for Story. Has Lane at center with Caruso. Works on the far side of the box. And the challenge clean, getting the ball, was Hennessy.
Good challenge. And
oh, my gosh. Now, I respectfully dissent, sir. That looked like it should have been a corner kick.
Yeah, Coach Pincince wondering the same thing. And the only good thing, it gives the Bears a chance to make a sub. But that certainly looked.
It's Bizarro Soccer Day this week. We saw guys in UMass Lowell punch the ball on Tuesday and it didn't get called. So, hey, your interpretation of the rules and mine are as good as anybody's at this point.
Oh, Mike, anything can happen on Halloween. That another perfect example.
Trick or treat indeed.
Oh, that was definitely a trick. That was certainly no treat. 7.5 to go.
So the Bears getting Katz and Moody back on. Caruso checking off, and so was Story. Penn, the cross, Lane knocking it down. The turn. Picking it up on the near side. Nesmith wanted to step over it, and she can't keep it alive.
That was out.
The referee, the linesman shaking his head. DeSimone goes down, and Beach sets it away. From this angle, certainly looked like it was out.
It looked like the whole ball was out.
Indeed,
he might have a tough time picking it up because the Penn bench along the sideline.
Good ball, knocked by Cobb. Beach, Moody, the shield, the turn, and the slide. Gould for Katz.
Oh, get it out.
Gould trying to knock it toward midfield. It'll be set back in by Wingett. Inside 6.5 to play. A lot of time if you're going to hang on. That ball driven back toward the goal. Got off the foot of Cobb, and DeSimone says, I'm going to get it out. Brought back upfield by Dwyer. Puts it across, and Edsel will fall on it.
Ooh, the old bending but not breaking here for the last 90 seconds or so. Penn going full out, trying to find that equalizer. Bears got to find a way to get their mojo back here for the final 6.
Edsel the win. DeSimone.
And there's a lot of chippiness out there, Mike.
Yeah, this game's gotten much chippier.
Well, and part of that, the officials let some things go, and all those stern talking, or not so stern talking to.
I thought Viviere's going down, and she needs out. I mean, again, Viviere has given the Bears some great minutes today, but she is
almost unexpected. I mean, we didn't know if she was going to be able to go today. She's been out since the 4th game, and
Jacqueline Alois.
Great minutes here today out of.
And you see Coach Pincince saying, "Hey, get out there and bring this one home to Alois. As you can see, Vivier just sore, a little bit slow getting off the field, holding those ankles.
She's pretty heavily bandaged. And look, DeSimone is trying to make good. Like, she's saying, I'm getting hit with all these shots. We're getting tugged. We're getting elbows.
Do me a favor. Call something, yeah. 5:34 left. Here's the throw. It's a big throw from Nesmith. Up goes Beach. It heads back toward the 6. The drive blocked by Cobb. Another ricochet in on Edsel.
And again, you know, Edsel making complicated saves look easy, Mike. That was a very difficult save. You know, she's, again, a tall netminder having to go low off a quick redirection, which you're not expecting. And
through traffic.
Through traffic. I mean, just another fantastic save as, you know, she now has 8 on the day.
Well, sometimes, Mike, we see on senior day the underclassmen picking them up, and that, in fact, is the case here today. And the Bears catch a break as Alois's ball curls off of Nesmith. And we're inside 5. There's the shove in the back.
Every time the Bears go up, they're getting shoved in the air by a Quaker, and their official has decided that's going to be,
he's going to let it go.
Yeah, and it's dangerous.
It is very dangerous.
It's a very dangerous defensive play.
They'll get Katz in transition with Lane running. Puts it through. It's knocked out by the D. Alois trying to feed Gould. It gets there. Gould for DeSimone on the flank. Bears building from the right side. Couple of Quakers over there. A good ball play by, I want to say, Dwyer. And the Bears are going to draw the throw.
And again, it's almost like the AR wasn't sure himself.
He wasn't.
He was kind of like, this.
He wasn't. He let DeSimone make that call, Mike. If you're a Quaker fan, you're very annoyed by that. DeSimone in the corner, trying to draw a corner kick. It's off of another Penn shin for a Brown throw as we're into 3:45. They're going to call a bad throw. It was.
Yeah,
and it was.
I'm more rolling my eyes because, like, how do you take a bad throw here?
Big throw coming up. Stevens and now Gould. Ball played down was Dwyer, and it will run.
And the Bears right now doing a pretty good job of trying to lock Penn in.
Why are they stopping the clock?
Because he's just doing whatever he wants out there, Mike.
He's yelling at the ball boy. I think he should yell at some of the players that are hatchet jobbing Bears on the field. Oh, there's one. So DeSimone's lobbying, grants finally a foul call. No, it's a throw-in. Okay, yeah, I give up.
Well,
I give up. At any rate, ball bouncing to Alois, puts it back toward the 18, sent away by the Quakers D, out to midfield. The touch by Mikolai comes out to the far side for Higa. Higa winds up, knocked by by Cobb, and then Lehan aways it. It was a good look for Stevens, Mike, on that diagonal.
Yeah, it was, and that's the one player that Penn really wants to target, their leading scorer, just a freshman, but he's had a great year so far.
Beach, upfield. Katz coming back to the ball. Hennessy, and now that's Wingett sending it to that far side. Grant, and there's again, you can see it from here. That was Lane getting an elbow from Higa. Nice challenge by Beach. And out of bounds, it's a Penn throw. Ticking down to the 2-minute warning here with the Bears leading 1-0. There's the throw. Beach winds up and sends it downfield. Wing at the header. Lehan, that's a handball.
Yep, that was off the back of the arm of Stevens.
Awayed by the Brown D, but out of bounds near side. Bears haven't had a good result against Penn in some time. I think it's been the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, last win was 2008 for the Bears. 1-0 in OT. Last year they fell 2-0 on the road in Philly.
Yeah, Rhodes Field, a tough place to play. So there's not a Bear on the field who's ever beaten Penn. Quakers are going to load it up. Nesmith the throw. Up goes Lois, and Katz puts it to the middle of the field. Trying to chase his lane, and it's out to Wingett. She'll knock it to the far side. In the air for Grant. Turf Monster got Higa, and it's a Penn throw with 70 seconds to play. Thrown in quickly and sent downfield. It stays between the sidelines. And Wingett will return, sends it up the flank. Set up field. It rolls ahead to Nikolai. Nikolai looking back towards center. Picked up by Gould. Centering pass knocked by Gould to the near side. In the air, it'll be settled there by Dwyer on the left side. Picked up by Moody. Sets it ahead. Cobb heads it away. 35 seconds left. Cats the turn. It's off a Quaker.
Yep, it'll be a Brown throw.
That was off the back of Dwyer's foot.
You just need one big clear up over midfield. Send it down to the corner.
DeSimone. Cats. Will it be Beach sending it downfield? Wingett in midfield. 15 seconds left. Headed down. Cobb sends it away. Far side Grant. Lane with a touch. Higa's going to come down to it. Penn's going to run out of time. And the Bears have made a winner on senior day of head coach Phil Pincince in his final match here at home.
Wow, Mike, what a finish to this one. Incredible game. Great result for Coach Pincince. A game that meant a lot more than he's let on, and certainly a deserving way to go out in his career here at Stevenson Pincince Field.
1-0 our final in a terrific match from Providence. The Bears coming away with a 1-0 decision over Penn.